you guys that we'd be doing a worksheet today, but instead we're going to be doing two-step inequalities. Since I'm not here all day, you are going to learn it through this video. So I need you to pay very close attention. I'm going to move quickly, and the substitute, Miss Jolly, Miss Spencer, or Miss Harris can feel free to pause it at any time to answer any of your questions, okay? So, two-step equations work just, two-step inequalities work just like solving a two-step equation. The goal is to isolate the variable, to get that variable by itself. So if we did a question like 4b plus 3 is going to be greater than 15. Looking at this problem, the first thing we need to do to isolate the variable is to get rid of the constant, the number that's by itself. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Since it's added, to get rid of it, we do the opposite, which is subtract in this case. So minus 3 minus 3. This cancels out, and we're going to bring down our 4b. Bring down our sign, our inequality sign, and 15 minus 3 equals 12. Now, this is a one-step equation right here because it is multiplication is greater, 4b, which is multiplication, is greater than 12b, which means this side of the equation will be worth more than this side. So now, how do we undo multiplication? We do the opposite. You take apart a number that is multiplied through division, the opposite. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. Since we're dividing by positive 4, there is no need to flip our sign. So we're just going to bring our sign down. We're left with a b because 4 over 4 cancels out and leaves us with a 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. We know that b is always going to be greater than 3. Now, as review, will putting in a 3 in place of b make this statement true? No, it won't, because it will then be equal to 15. We want something on this side of the equation that is greater than 15. So any number larger than 3 is a solution. Even 3.1 is a solution, but 3 itself is not a solution. Okay, here's another problem for us to do. Let's do, pick a good one. H divided by 4 plus 5 is less than equal to a negative 7. Now, a lot of you have issues when we have a negative over here. So I'm going to write it a little differently than what I normally do, so pay very close attention. The first thing we need to do to isolate the variable is to get rid of the number that's by itself. So by doing that, we're going to look at the 5. Since we're adding 5 on this side of the inequality, we're going to subtract 5 from this side. And what we do to this side of the inequality, we must do to the other. So minus 5. Normally, you know that I write it right here. But I'm going to write it out here today because you guys forget when you subtract integers that you do the keep, change, change. Keep the first number, change it to an addition problem, change the sign of the second number, or keep change opposite. Negative 7 plus 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 12. It's a negative 12 since both of these are negative. So, I'm circling this number just so you know. I'm going to pull this number down to right here and put negative 12 is greater than equal to h over 4. And I wrote that a little close, so I'm going to make this smaller. Okay? So, h divided by 4 is less than or equal to negative 12. Now, these two are joined by what math operation? Division. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to now multiply by 4 on both sides. This cancels out and leaves us with 1h. Bring down our sign. And then we're going to multiply by a 4 on this side. Negative 12 times 4 equals negative 48. So h must be less than or equal to negative 48, which means anything below negative 48, like negative 50, negative 48.2, is a correct answer. But anytime you go above 48 would not make this inequality statement right here, the original inequality, true. I'll leave that up there for a second. And do a problem on this side of the board. Now, you also have problems that incorporate decimals. I know how you guys hate decimals and fractions, but sometimes they just occur. So we've got t divided by negative 8 minus 2.7 is going to be less than or equal to negative 3. Alright, first things first. We want to deal with the number again that's by itself. So we're going to add 2.7 to both sides. I went ahead and put a decimal here in 7 and put a decimal here in 0, just so I lined up my decimals for the addition subtraction that we're about to do. And we need to bring down our sign. So I'm going to go ahead and bring down everything before I do the math over here. T negative 8. I need to write that down. T negative 8. Sorry, my T is very ugly today. Alright, now, a negative adding a positive, guess what? You're actually going to subtract the two since they're different signs, and then you're going to put the sign of the number that has the higher absolute value. We know that 3 is further away from 0, so it has the higher absolute value, so our sum of these two numbers is going to be negative. Now, subtract them. 10 minus 7 is 3. Bring down my decimal point. And 2 minus 2 is 0. Now, here comes the fun part. We have negative 8 over here. We need to multiply by a negative 8 over here to get rid of it, correct? Because that, since we're dividing, we got to undo it with multiplication. So negative 8 divided by multiplied by negative 8 leaves us with t. But we multiplied by a negative here, correct? So since we divided by a negative, or multiplied by a negative, we need to flip our inequality. Now we need to multiply by a negative 8 on this side. Negative 8. 3 times a negative 8 is, negative times a negative is positive, so it's 24. We have one number with a decimal point in it, so the decimal goes right here. So t is greater than or equal to 2.4, which means 2.4 makes the statement true, but also any number greater than 2.4 also makes the statement true. Let's do two more examples, and then I'll cut you loose on your work, okay? What if we have 6 minus 4/5 r is greater than 18? First things first with this problem, it's written a lot differently than what we're used to. So I'm going to rewrite it because I think this way's ugly. So I'm going to take this is a negative 4/5 r, and I'm going to switch it with this 6 and put plus 6 because this 6 is positive since there is not a negative sign out in front. And just bring down this right here. Now that my equation inequality looks a whole lot nicer and pretty, we're going to do what we have been doing. First, we want to isolate the variable. We isolate the variable through getting rid of the number that's there by itself first. So, plus 6, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So, subtract 6 minus 6. I'm going to bring down my inequality. These cancel out. I'm going to bring down my negative 4/5 r, and I'm going to write this inequality sign just a little bigger. 18 minus 6 is 12. So negative 4/5 r is greater than 12. Now we're down to a one-step equation, but I know how you guys hate fractions. Remember that this is like 4/5 times r. We can write it like this: negative 4/5. I'll put it in a little cloud over here. Times r. It means the same thing. So when we're multiplying it by something, to do the opposite, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal version of that fraction. So we're going to multiply by negative 5/4. This cross cancels out and leaves us with an r. Now, but since we have multiplied by negative on both sides, we're fixing to multiply by that negative 5/4. Fourths on this side. Since we're multiplying by it on this side, that means that we're going to change our sign. We're going to flip it. I'm going to write this a little smaller. 12/1, negative 5/4. 12 times a negative 5 is actually negative 60/4. Negative 60 divided by 4 is a negative 15. So r is going to be less than a negative 15. Now, what I would like you to do today is you're going to do some book work. Miss Harris or Miss Spencer or Miss Jolly are going to give you your assignment now. They will be able to help you and answer some of your questions. Now, at the end of class, you're not going to have a homework assignment. You do have classwork to do though. They're going to take up your classwork at the end of class, and that is going to be your assignment for today's class period. Please work hard and do your best. Have a good day. See y'all soon.